Alex,
Adam,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. It's Sunday, Sunday fun
Sunday,
day.
Sunday, Sunday.
Lots of hockey on today, bud.
I know, I know, I know. It's exciting.
It is. It's nice to actually have a few games on a Sunday after normally it's like nothing on Friday, everything Saturday, then
Oh,
nothing on Sunday. We're actually getting
yeah.
some games today, and they're kind of spread out. Game at
Are they?
1, game
Yeah,
at 3:30, game at 6, games at 7, 8. No 10 o'clock games, which on a Sunday I can appreciate.
yeah. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And coming to the end of the season,
yeah, man.
most teams have 6 or 7 games left, something around there.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like Eric Carlson, 6 games left to get 5 more points to hit 100.
Will he do it?
The Norris Trophy winner. I hope he does. I hope he does. I don't know the Sharks' schedule because the man just had a 4-point night last night, which is just incredible. Let's look up the Sharks' schedule here and see
I
if it's possible.
I
Because
have it up. I have it
oh,
up. Ooh, yeah, I was gonna
oh, I
say.
saw the next 2 games. That's
Yeah,
tough. That's tough.
it's
So
a tough
double
one.
Colorado.
Yep.
The Oilers. You never know.
Depends on who's starting.
Yeah. The Jets depends on if they show up. Calgary, it depends on Jacob Markstrom. And then that last game against the Oilers, they're probably going to be resting people. So there's a good chance.
We'll see.
I
He
think
can
he
do
can
it,
do it.
probably.
Listen, they could lose all those games like 6-5, and I wouldn't be surprised. And he could do it. But I'm on countdown here. There are a few guys around the league, like Nugent Hopkins is chasing 100 points. I saw it, and I was like,
Mhm.
excuse me? He's what now? The
Pedersen.
quietest. Yeah, Patterson too. You know how? Let's get sleep. I'm gonna get the NHL like leaders up. Like Carter Verhaeghe hit 40 goals last night. Sorry, pardon me.
Yeah,
How?
Leafs legend.
I was gonna say that was probably going around Leafs Twitter, wasn't it?
No,
Really? Oh,
no.
I'm good. That makes me happy because normally
Yeah.
he's one of those guys where they're like,
Well,
grab a
see, the thing
goal.
is, it only comes up if it's a guy Dubas traded. So yeah, when it's a
Was
guy Lou
oh yeah, he
when it's
was
a guy
yeah.
Lou trades, never comes up. It's not a
So
thing. Doesn't exist.
obviously McDavid is at 146 points.
Good
Leon hit
God.
50 last night. So far Kucherov's 106 points. Kachuk over the weekend went over the 100. Pasternak's at 102. Also has the most goals in a single season by a Bruin, which was pretty sick. McKinnon's at 97. He can finally hit 100 points. Jason Robertson's at 97, 48 goals. Nugent Hopkins at 97. Pedersen 96. Marner 95. Carlson 95. Rantanen's one away from 50. Braden Points at 48 goals. What else do we got around here? Tates Thompson's at 44. Ovechkin's at 42. Shifley's at 39. Kachuk's at 38. Matthew, I should say. Yeah, we got some pretty. I love this. I love seeing all this scoring. It's fun.
I like how you had to differentiate, but it doesn't matter, right? Because Matthew Kachuk plays on a soft team, so
Yeah. Well, I differentiated because Brady's had a really good year, hasn't he?
I know. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just
So
messing around.
yeah, just coursing around with those. I mean, the Panthers came out. They've been playing well. They began some dubs. They
Yeah.
they kicked the crap out of the
Uh,
Canadians, which was nice. But
all they needed to do was Keith Kachuk coming on Toronto radio and saying they were soft.
was it on Sportsnet then?
It
Or?
was on Overdrive. No,
Ah,
first up
first up.
TSN.
Okay, yeah. Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. What a surprise. Yeah, Alex. A few things to talk about here. First off, why don't we start with the wild card warm up roundup?
Okay,
Sorry.
change it up.
Look at the wild card, see what's going on here. First off, let's just quickly look what happened last night around the NHL. So we can just quickly see any significant teams. Nashville won 6-1, absolutely pumps the Blues. Let me quickly double check. St. Louis. It was Thomas Greiss in that. Wait, how many goals against? All six. Oh, I don't know what's up with Bennington, but so Nashville won, which is great for their playoff hopes. Pittsburgh lost to the Bruins, not great. And it was in regulation, which was not Pasternak completing the hat trick. Also significantly, the Islanders lost, just got pumped. The Sabres have won. The Panthers win. Besides that, looking at some important teams here, Seattle lost, but their spot's pretty well. So those are just some of the games that happened. And then we go look at the standings themselves. Should we start in the East or do you want to start in the West?
Let's start in the East. Why not?
Okay, good. So Pittsburgh are no longer in a playoff spot. They are a point back of the Panthers, but the Panthers have played one game more than them. And 4 points back of the Panthers are the Buffalo Sabres, with 2 games in hand to have the Sabres. And Devon Levi now playing.
Yeah. Man, so I put it in the doc, but I watched Rangers Sabres the other day, a couple days ago. Levi's debut. Right?
Yeah.
That guy's a goalie, man. That guy's a baller. That guy is a baller.
Great quotes. Quoting Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was taking a drink of water.
No.
I was doing it as you ended your sentence.
It's okay.
That was bad. That was bad radio. That was
okay.
Dead air. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was just trying to think of my next thought. But I was going to say, like, the Sabres goaltending has been a massive question mark all season. And I don't necessarily think Levi comes in and pushes them into a playoff spot right now. But man, like I think you look at the goalies they have. I mean, Devon Levi, like I said, baller alert. And then you have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen around. Like, I wonder I'm really curious, and I know this is a off-season conversation, but I'm very curious as to what they do with their goaltending next year, because they can easily listen. Maybe I'm overhyping the guy, and I do want to have a conversation about the NCAA at some point.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'm overhyping Devon Levi, but from what I watched in the first game, that guy had no problems in that at all. And he was against the Rangers. Like, yeah, he's
Listen,
a baller.
Let's park some time, actually. Let's ignore the wild card stuff, because I think it's just the perfect opportunity has presented itself.
Okay.
So Devon Levi makes his debut again, as you say, at home against the Rangers. Made some massive saves, was basically saying afterwards in the third, he wanted to face one-timers. He wanted to face guys in the slot. He was welcoming the challenge. Listen, tiny goalies, you love, I shouldn't like short goalies. I don't know how tall he is, but short in the NHL for a goaltender is probably like your eyes height. I'm 5'11", you're probably like 5'10".
Yeah,
right?
5'9", probably.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I don't know why I had to say the fact that I'm taller than you.
No, but you are visibly taller than me. I don't take offense to that.
I'm sorry, I had to though. We're not Will Baldwin though, freaking like 6'3". How dare you? But the point is here. So last night on 32 Thoughts, the Hockey Night edition, Elliot Friedman sort of pointed out that there isn't much long in the season, and of course, Craig Anderson, the journeyman goaltender, it might be coming to an end his career. And there is a game, I think it's the Sabres' second last game of the year against the Ottawa Senators. And a lot of people could be circling that as his last ever game. And my God, he did say if they start winning more and this becomes an important game, maybe it's different. I will point out, by the way, if the Sabres, right now they have 8 games left. If they win, no, 7 games left. Sorry, it's 82. If they win all those games, they hit 95 points, which is normally the cutoff point. They have to win every game to do that. So if that is the end of Craig Anderson, then all of a sudden, and I have a feeling if that is the end, and maybe if those plans have been discussed, I'm sure Devon Levi knows that, because I'm sure when they were talking about signing him, they definitely let him know what the future is. I mean, man, even if it's Eric Comrie back next year, or if it's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, right now Levi literally has every opportunity to have that net. Like, it doesn't even, obviously we know you need 2 goalies, and Luukkonen is still a kind of youngish guy, so maybe they just do that. But man, I think we can be excited right now with, one game of Levi. I even picked him up in fantasy to hopefully win 3rd place.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. But
we're gonna talk about that, because I just
updated.
I just looked at the score I'm
I
like,
don't even
wow.
want to. We can get to it in a second, but you admit, like it is his net,
It
and he
is.
has in that first game all the pressure in the world, and man, he just excelled.
And it's not like it was against a particularly easy team.
No,
No, right? Like it was against the New York Rangers, who I mean, I'm pretty high on. I've been saying I think they're the team out of that side of the bracket that gets into the Eastern Conference Final. Um, and he just looked to me like he looked so calm in net. And considering his age, I'd say that's quite impressive.
well, you talk about calmness. Do you know who his idol is?
Who?
It's Carey Price, actually.
Okay, there we
And
go.
I don't think there's a
Yeah,
goalie we've ever seen who was quite as calm in net. So I'm not surprised that he sort of has that.
it's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Just want to point out Carey Price. Got to mention him whenever you can because he's not around anymore. Poor guy. But just it's really really sick. Like again and again, not to mention just the fact that this is a guy, a goalie straight from college to the NHL.
Mhm.
That's awesome stuff. So back to the wild card discussion here. It looks like the Islanders have the inside track, and maybe, which is just, I hate it so much. I hate the Islanders. They just never go away. So I am prepared right here, right now, because my God, the Penguins just don't, they just don't deserve it to officially change my picks to the Islanders and the Florida Panthers. I love the Sabres, but literally they lose a game or two. Like there's
It's
just, it's very unlikely. The math is not amazing for them.
I just I have so much trouble not picking the Penguins. You're right. Like I think I would argue the back half of Florida's season has been so much as well, other than they've been called soft, has been better than their first half. Like they
Yeah,
do look like a better team than they did in the first half of the year. Like that's just
they're healthy.
right.
That helps.
Right. Yeah, that helps, right? Like
And
they do
Alex Lyon is pulling an Andrew Hammond right now.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think they absolutely deserve to be in the playoffs right now. I think they have the advantage. Like the Penguins play tonight play against the Flyers. And if they win, they're in the playoff spot. And again, it's a massive if they win. But if there is a game that the Penguins should show up to, it should be this one.
Yep. What's the thing I always like to say is if you're a Hab and you don't show up in a game against the Leafs, you shouldn't be on the team. That applies to, I think sometimes we forget about the major American rivalries here in Canada, but I mean, let's not forget. I think a reason we all want the Flyers to finally be good is so them and Pittsburgh can have another tremendous hate-filled series.
And it's going to be
it's going to be fun. Sorry, go ahead.
It is going to be fun. I was just going to say it's going to be unfortunate that as the Flyers, if they make the right decisions, will be on the up and up, while the Penguins will inevitably be on the down and down.
Hmm.
Unfortunate. But tonight definitely will be important. I'm still going to stick with the Islanders and Penguins. I'm surprised you've switched, to be honest. If there was anyone here that would have stuck with the Penguins, I thought it would have been you, but I'm going to go with the Penguins.
I'm not counting out Crosby. I'm counting out the rest of the team.
I know.
You know what I haven't looked at in a while, Alex?
What's that?
Let's quickly get up here the stats of Sidney Crosby. There's this hat like this. If you look him up, it's like him. The first like picture that comes up for Sid is one of him in a flat cap, and I'm wondering if that's an outdoor game. 86 points in 76 games played, 31 goals.
Sidney Crosby.
5 points short of 1,500, by the way. He's good.
He'll get it.
And
this
year. Hold on, I gotta do some math here. I'm using my finger because I'm dumb. 53 assists away from 1,000 too.
Oh wow.
God, he's good. God, he's amazing. He'll be 36 in the summer, and he's this good.
He's a beauty.
Man, the youngins. Something else I wanted to mention. What were we just talking about?
The wild card race.
Philly.
Philly.
Did you see that Torts wasn't on the bench the other day?
I did.
Yeah,
Why?
that was I guess
Did
they
I miss
wanted
it?
one of the assists. He wanted to see the game from above and also give one of his assistants the chance.
Yeah, that's a
And
John
they got
Tortorella thing.
killed.
I mean, listen, I don't know if John Tortorella not being there was the reason they got killed.
I just thought it was funny to mention.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. That's a Torts thing to do for sure.
I like it. Before we go to the West, I do want to quickly mention the fact of the San Jose Sharks are like it's safe to say the Canadians are not going to finish lower than fifth last right
Okay.
now. The concerning thing still is they only have a point less than the Coyotes in the same amount of games played. So we need to start losing some more games here, boys. But Bedard's sweepstakes, I should say right now, Blackhawks last. They are tied with points from the Blue Jackets, but the Blue Jackets have a game in hand. Now to the wild card race in the good old Western Conference. Or should I say that just I hate watching you guys play hockey because it's so sad. All right. 3 points separate the Jets and the Nashville Predators, and between them, it's Calgary. Winnipeg, Calgary, 76 games each. The Flames are back by 2 points. Nashville, a game behind those guys, as I mentioned, 3 points back in Winnipeg. I said that point back of the Calgary Flames. We know there's a Flames Winnipeg Jets very soon. Well, I shouldn't say soon. The season's done soon. But that's coming up in a few days. That will be one of the biggest games of the year. Oh man, I don't even know who to say. I just don't care. I just don't. None of you deserve this. None of you
I don't
I
know.
want to see even this
No,
is
you know what? I disagree. I think there's one team that I don't want to
Nashville.
say
Okay,
I don't
maybe
want to say
they've earned
deserve it. I don't listen. I don't want to say deserves it, but I do think it'd be a story. It'd be a cool story if Nashville sold at the deadline. Like they haven't really like officially said they're rebuilding, right? They kind of just sold off pieces. They're going to let Barry Trotz do his thing in the summer, but it would be a great story for them to make the playoffs. We know, here's the thing. They're going to play Vegas in the first round, right? Vegas or Minnesota if Minnesota can catch up to Vegas. Vegas has 101 points. Minnesota has 97. You're telling me that UC Saros in the first round of the playoffs cannot steal you a couple games?
I mean, Vegas are known to be upset by star goaltenders in the past in the postseason.
Exactly.
Oh, and known to choke in the offseason against lesser teams many a time.
I also have
happening.
a feeling, let me double check that. Like, do you know who hasn't been playing recently for Nashville?
Boy, do I. Roman Yossi.
Roman Yossi, but let me read you
Thank
a
you.
couple other. Ryan Johansson hasn't played.
Isn't he out for the season? Anyway, go on.
Philip Forsberg.
Oh god! Oh wow.
Matt Duchene.
Yeah, so they're best players.
And they're still this close.
Man, goalies just, goalies, man. UC Saros. That's why I have him as the third best in the league at times. On his bad days, he's third best. He's something else, man.
All I'm saying is it would be a story, and I wouldn't necessarily count them out.
Man, I'm really not. I'm just looking at the West. I'm kind of like, I'm thinking to myself, the Oilers again have 200.50 goal guys, right?
Yep.
And I'm still not convinced they could win the conference. Vegas, I don't have
so?
total comp. No, I don't.
I think they can easily get out of their division.
I mean, listen, I'm going to say this. They're both LA and Edmonton are better than they were last year. I think that's a fact.
100%.
And they're on a crash course to face each other right now. Again, Vegas, Edmonton could be fun. And I was going to say, like, it'd be nice if LA and Vegas could play each other, but I'm like, wait a minute, no, because, Jonathan Quick.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny. But that series could be tough, and I don't want to count out the Kings, and I don't want to count out Phil Deneau, even though that last series last year was because McDavid's not real. But even Colorado, I'm still not convinced that they can repeat. Minnesota, I had so much faith in last year, and I've completely given up on them. I don't care they're leading the division. And even Dallas, I'm kind of like, you're a little unproven. you've had a great regular season, but in the playoffs, and I know I was high on them a couple of weeks ago when I said they'd beat Edmonton in the series, but I'm just not. No one in the West to me right now is like, man, you're gonna ruin anyone's world right now.
I don't know. I think it could be Edmonton. Like the okay, here's the thing is I think if you look at the top teams in the East, I think it's going to be a nightmare for Edmonton. I think you look at Boston, you look at Tampa Bay, you look at Carolina. I don't think in a 7-game series I would personally take those 3 teams. But I think if you look at the teams in the West, specifically for Edmonton, I think they can outscore their problems against all of them.
Yep.
Maybe except Colorado. Maybe. Because Landeskog's not back yet, right?
I think he's been skating like him. Okay, I think I saw the other day like him and Lehkonen started skating.
All right, so Landeskog will be back by the playoffs. No problem. I think they're the team that I look at and say, I don't necessarily know if they can outscore their problems against Colorado.
Well, I mean, they didn't do it last year.
Right. Yeah, but Edmonton's better this year, and I would argue Colorado is not.
Here's the X factor. Because do you remember what we saw in that Avalanche Oilers series last year that we had never seen?
What was that?
We saw a defenseman who knew how to defend Connor McDavid with Cale Makar. There's that. I'm sure you remember it. That famous clip where Makar is actually keeping up with McDavid's speed and takes him off a scoring chance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing they'll have. Again, it's just, is there enough there when you can slow him and Leon down? But you know what? Here's one thing with Edmonton. Do you know what Leon Draisaitl is right now that he wasn't last playoffs?
Healthy.
He's got 2 good legs right now. He doesn't have a high ankle sprain. So
right.
Maybe you're right. I'm still wary on them. And they do have Ekholm. Oh, maybe because he's still. Oh, we'll see.
Here's the thing: is if they get stonewalled, which again it could happen, but it could happen. It might not. If it's going to be a low scoring series, I can't give it to the Oilers. Like the goaltending is just not there.
It's not playoff proven. That's the big thing.
It's not playoff proven, but even during this regular season in particular, it's not like I can't. I've watched multiple Edmonton Oiler games where after the first period, there have been 5 goals. Right? Like that. And I love that for my fantasy team, but
yeah, great.
I don't know if it comes down to it, how that's going to face off against certain teams in the West. Like I look at Colorado, I said, but just behind them to me would be Dallas. Like Jake Oettinger, my God, talk about goaltender. We've been talking about goaltenders this episode. Yep. Baller, yep. Right? The X factor is like McDavid and Draisaitl, man. Like that top 6 on the Oilers is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
We've teased it a few times, fantasy. So right now is the last day of the semifinals. You and I have been facing each other. Before last night, I had 70 points the whole week. You, I think, were around 300 last night. Mm-hmm. You're destroying me. And I would just like to point out the only one of my I had 5 goalies going into this week because I was going to stock up and be careful. I didn't get a goalie start till Wednesday.
God, that's tough.
The Bruins are the only one of my players who showed up. And I would just like to say that I'm happy Nylander decided to score last night after doing nothing for the past 2-3 weeks for me. The team gave up except the Bruins. God bless them. They are a good team. Besides, the rest of you are all scrubs. I don't care that Kucherov's got 105 points. He didn't show up when he needed the most.
McDavid had 52 points for me this week. Evander Kane, 34.5. Zach Hyman, 35.5.
Well, it looks like Daniel's going to lose to Scott, and looks like him and I are going to go at it for 3rd place. Yep. Good luck against Scott.
Thanks.
the two heavyweights of the league this season. Let's see what happens.
I think the Oilers have like 3 games next week, which tough.
I mean, that's all you need, though. Who are they playing?
I don't
Is there
remember.
Anaheim? No, Anaheim was last night.
Yeah, Anaheim was last night. Yeah.
Let's get up the Oilers schedule here.
This
is somehow relevant to see if they can win the division too. So don't add us.
Don't add us. Yeah, that's true.
They have another game against the Anaheim Ducks this week. Alex, you're fine. They play Tuesday. It's the Kings. Wednesday, it's the Ducks. Saturday, it's the San Jose Sharks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, you got a chance. Then again, he also has Erik Karlsson, and you know he's got a good team. I think he has Draisaitl, wasn't he? Or is that Anton? Anyway,
I don't remember.
I think that's everything. Wait, definitive. Who are your 2 teams in the West? I'll say Seattle, and I'll say Calgary. Why not?
Why are you just the anti?
I just don't care. It'd be funny if the Jets miss.
Man, they're a tire fire right now. So I'm gonna go Seattle and Nashville.
Okay.
Man, I wish I was here last episode to rip the Jets, but that's okay.
Shout out to them actually responding to Bonus calling them out and then kicking the crap out of. I forget who it was, but I think they won like 6-0.
Last night?
It wasn't last night, but it was after Bonus called them out.
Oh, okay.
Alex, listen, I heard this last night and my jaw nearly hit the ground so hard I needed a second jaw surgery. Listen. We know that there have been rumors about the NHL going to Australia for preseason games, or I think it's just games in general, right? Last night, Jeff Merrick reported on 32 Thoughts. The teams going are the LA Kings and the Arizona Coyotes.
Interesting.
I just need to know.
What?
Alex, can you just give me a second? I want to check something out.
I have a feeling I already know what you're checking.
So I'm just
because we both had the same thought.
So let me just quickly. I'm going to cat friendly because I want to just double check something here. Okay, so let's go to this team. Let's quickly check. Okay, so Alex, do you know who is under contract? Who's not a free agent and is under contract with the team for next year?
Yeah, Nathan Walker.
Yeah, do you know where Nathan Walker's from?
He's from Australia.
You know what team he plays for?
He's from the UK, but he plays for. I have it up. He plays for St. Louis.
Why are the? I almost dropped a very loud F-bomb there. Why are you sending to grow the game in Australia the Arizona Coyotes?
Do they have someone?
Are you expecting Logan Cooley's going to sign? Is he still playing?
Is he still playing? I don't know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Why? Out of anyone, the Boston Bruins have 123 points right now and have clinched the President's Trophy. I think they did that like last week.
Yeah.
And they can still win. They can still pass 62 wins, by the way. I think they're at like 59 right now. I'm grabbing the pop filter of this mic, and I am just trying to like calm myself down. Like the Kings are already like, okay, why are they going to the Coyotes? Why did you not send any other relevant team with some sort of identity and prestige to them? Why the Coyotes?
It didn't even. It literally one of these teams should have been the Blues. I think it was pretty. I thought it was as simple as that because when they went to.
Literally any other time they go to a country overseas, they send a team that has the players of those nationalities.
Exactly. So
imagine going to imagine going to a game in like Germany without sending, the Oilers and the Sets. Let's not send Stoops and Draisaitl. Why?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't really understand that.
What's the benefit there? What's going to help the game? The Coyotes. They don't even play.
I love how we both grabbed the water at the same time.
Argument with a freaking airport. Yeah, I know we were both because we're both. Like, God damn it, guys! What are we doing here? The Kings and the Coyotes. That was your plan.
The Kings are a good one.
Let me guess. No, this is what it is. I bet there's going to be more goddamn renovations they need to do. And it's like, oh, we'll send them on the road. Why not? Oh, I bet they can't go in this slot because the Sun Devils have priority because they do. That's a fact. Oh, let's go.
The
What are we
Kings
doing,
are a good
guys?
one. The Kings are a good one though.
Because they're a good, relevant team.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Gretzky.
Yeah. I mean, he couldn't even like
Literally.
that's the thing. Wayne couldn't even make the Coyotes well relevant.
I mean, he wasn't a particularly great coach.
I mean, still, he's Wayne. He's the great one. I just needed to get that out the way to be like, why are we doing this?
No, I know it was a weird one. Like, I'm like, cool idea because I was out last night after work and someone pointed it out to me, and I'm like, wow, that is interesting. Like Australia, I understand. Go somewhere you haven't really gone before and is interested in the sport, but the teams were why?
Do you think they're gonna like? Are you trying to trick the people of Australia into thinking, coyotes, the desert, maybe wild animals? Like what? Like, do you think that the things you find in the Australian zoo are going to be in Arizona?
Maybe.
Send the Panthers. At least they have alligators and freaking crocodiles in their golf courses. At least that would make sense. Robert Irwin's there. Like, hey, what's up? Feeds a freaking alligator in the middle of a crocodile in the middle of the intermission. There we go, boys. Does a death roll. Come on, man. How are they gonna do here? Like, what are we doing here? So the Coyotes, I just seriously, I just think to myself that like it's not even the fact that they're a bad hockey team. Like I don't care about that. Like you can, those fans may never watch the game before. You don't need to have competitive teams to be honest. Like it'll be early in the season probably. The hockey's probably going to be kind of ugly anyway. I just don't get why you send like an irrelevant team, like one that literally no one cares about. With all due respect to their fans, what are we doing?
I wish I knew.
I've taken off my glasses because
You're
I'm just
upset.
so. Uh, okay, well, you want to move on?
Sure.
Okay. The Leafs.
The Leafs. What
They
about them?
beat some teams.
They beat one.
I want the playoffs to start so bad.
Yeah, I know. I know. But there are two things I want to bring. There's not much. Again, we're at the point of the season where I think the two games for this team in particular, I don't want to say they're meaningless. They're just
They're
tune-up
meaningless.
games.
I'll say it.
I have problems saying that with whatever. I think they're tune-up games. Let's call them.
If listen, these are games. If you start losing these games embarrassingly, like 2 weeks before the playoffs, it's a problem. But they won handily, so it doesn't really matter.
But they lost. I'm pretty sure they lost to the Panthers.
Yeah, but that was sorry. I mean that mainly in regards to the Sens game, but the Panthers game, they were very, very, very clearly the better team and got goalie.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a problem in the playoffs. So,
yeah, but
Vasilevsky. Okay, whatever. But what I wanted to talk about is I don't know if this started after the last episode I was on because I wasn't on Wednesday. And I'm trying to piece together when this narrative decided to start. But some people have been talking about how the Leafs got worse at the deadline. Have you seen this narrative going around?
I saw it. Right?
Pardon?
I saw it. I saw it.
You saw it.
Oh, I did. I did.
Can someone actually explain to me how that makes sense? Because here's the thing in my eyes is we all watched Ryan O'Reilly play with the Leafs, correct? Right? Yeah. You watched it. I watched it. He looked pretty good, right? You would say that?
That 3-point night, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he was pretty good when he played. He got injured and he did not play.
Yeah.
I mean, he is currently not playing. I think he's coming back this week or next week. I don't remember. How can you say they got worse at the deadline when their biggest deadline acquisition hasn't played in 2.5 weeks?
Ignoring literally every other move they made, O'Reilly in and of himself makes it one more body from Kerfoot having to play center in a pinch, from Nylander having to play center in a pinch. That's not even getting into McCabe. And again, I was very vocal about if they're going to regret any one of those trades, it's going to be the Sandine one. Whatever.
Sure.
But still, every other move they made, trying to say they got worse, is just like, I think everyone's always said this is going to be before our time. I may sound like Ron McLean here. When the Rangers won the cup back in
Yeah.
the Mark Messier days, apparently it took that team a while to gel because their offseason was sort of so nuts and crazy and a lot of bodies. Chemistry takes time. And weren't they on the road like right after the deadline? So you don't have practice time to get your guys introduced. Um, it takes a little bit. Like Timo Meyer hasn't been a super duper star in New Jersey. It just takes a bit of time. You know?
Yeah, I just
And
don't.
yeah, O'Reilly's not. He's hurt.
He's not playing. He was your biggest deadline acquisition. So far, he was your biggest deadline acquisition. How you say the team hasn't gotten better? I saw someone tweet like Engvall has the same amount of points as Lafferty and who was the other guy? I don't even remember the. Who cares?
They
Enough.
didn't get Lafferty to score. Like I almost swore again. They didn't get Lafferty and McCabe to go get a lot of goals.
No, they
matter.
didn't. No, like I don't think it was McCabe. I think it was another forward, and I can't remember who it was. I can't. Maybe it might have been. I don't remember. If I can find the tweet, I'll bring it up. But
McMahon,
maybe
the dude they called up and scored last night. I can't say his name.
Zahorna, Radim Zahorna. But I don't like. What's the first off? Pierre Engvall wasn't doing much. Sorry. Do you know where Pierre Engvall has been playing on the Islanders?
Probably in their top 6.
Yeah. So please explain it to me.
They're going to play the Islanders in the conference finals now. I can't wait. Leafs and Islanders. It's going to happen. Watch.
Stop. I don't get the narrative of how they've gotten worse when their best deadline acquisition hasn't played in 2.5 weeks. Fine, Jake McCabe. Listen, arguably Jake McCabe had a really good start, slowed down a bit, and has been Jake McCabe. Luke Schen's throwing the body around. No one cares.
Yeah.
Sam Lafferty. Like I just what am I missing?
Stupidity.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's all it is.
I don't understand how your best acquisition hasn't played in 2.5 weeks, and you're telling me they've gotten worse when we've watched Ryan O'Reilly play, and when he's played, the team has looked better. But that's fine. Number 2, unless you have something else to add on that.
No.
Okay. Number 2.
Oh boy.
It's a 2-parter, my second one. First off, they brought this up on the SDP, and I thought it was a really interesting point that we keep talking about Matthew Knies. And
fucking hell.
If you think Matthew Knies is the key to beating Tampa Bay, you're not beating Tampa Bay. That was the point they made. And I thought that was the best point I've ever heard about Matthew Knies. He's not playing.
Doesn't think about Matthew Knies, by the way.
Kyle Dubas,
Nikita Kucherov.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just he would be great to have, but he's not the key. You know who the keys are? I'll tell you. There's 4 names.
Pat Maroon. Oh, the Leafs. Okay.
The Leafs. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and William Nylander. There are your keys. I put them on a platter. You unlock the doors. Come on. Like it's that those are your keys, not Matthew Knies. All due respect. It's not Matthew Knies.
He may be one of the rings you put the keys on, but
exactly
that helps keep the keys together. But the keys are the most valuable and useful thing on the ring.
Exactly. Now, my second point about Matthew Knies, and then I'm done about the Leafs. Adam, how many NCAA games have you watched in the last year?
I haven't watched an NCAA game since Cole Caulfield played in Wisconsin.
Okay. Listen, I have not watched an NCAA game in plenty of time. Plenty of time. So I'm not going to come up here and profess to you my knowledge of NCAA. Can people on Twitter stop?
Is this in
Enough.
regards to
Enough.
Mr. Matthew Knives
No,
being a finalist for the Hobie Baker?
I just sure, yeah, but it's just
Okay.
99% of the people on Twitter watch maybe one NCAA game a year.
Yeah.
I'll trust the 1% who watch the games. 100%. It's like, listen, if I need some U Sports hockey knowledge, I'm gonna call Ben Steiner. I am. Like, I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm 100% serious. 100% serious.
Yeah.
But I love when March comes around and like everyone knows everything about the NCAA. Can we stop?
I'm going to say
Please,
this.
please. I don't. Sure, Hudson might have been robbed, but let's not pretend like you know NCAA hockey. I certainly don't. I know they don't.
This is all I'm going to say about that, because I am a little annoyed that Hudson didn't get the nod. Listen, when you don't know about something, I think the next best thing you can do is read. And I'm not saying you just read stat lines on elite prospects. Let's not do that, people. I just look at the season he's had and the records he's broken. I think Hudson should have been there. That's all I'm going to say.
Sure.
I mean, it's going to be tough for Fantilli not to win the thing, but I thought it was a little. At this point, though, it's arguing about who gets on the podium, not who's on the top step, to be honest with you.
Right. It's the guy cheering, you know, the meme where you have the podiums and the guy in like fifth or sixth is just
This is the presenter
champagne.
bites the medal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're arguing about right now.
Yeah.
You know how silly that is?
It's kind of dumb.
It's like I watched 5 clips of NCAA hockey. I know everything.
You and I were joking on Twitter. It's kind of like when the World Junior rosters get announced, and it's like, this guy is not on it, and this person's definitely never watched a game.
Right. It's like, listen, man, there are 100% guys out there who know their stuff about the NCAA, about the World Juniors, like the CHL.
Mike and Christo, they know everything about hockey.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna move past. I'm gonna move past that one. My point is just, please, let's not pretend like we know everything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sorry, I need to get that out there.
I get it, man. Listen, so since the last we recorded, obviously Sean Farrell has made his NHL debut with the Canadiens. Scored a goal, his first career goal.
Was that his first shot? I read.
Apparently, it was his first shot. Yes, he didn't get one in his first game. One of the weakest goals you'll ever see in your life. Poor Alex Lyon, but they don't ask how; they ask how many.
Exactly.
So just give a shout out to him. I'm happy for him. I got some shifts on the top line. I thought it was nice. They do lose to the Panthers. They do just get the crap kicked out of them by the Hurricanes. I mean, it's just brutal, but that's good. They need those. Mumbo looks good. Put on the Mutton Show. One thing I wanted to mention here. Do you know what I'm getting really sick of the Canadians doing?
What's that?
They have a really bad history of doing their medical updates and saying someone's done for the season after the game. Last night, I'm like, okay, I'm about to go to bed, right? And I'm like, I wasn't staying up to watch the Australian Grand Prix because I'm not doing that. Right. But like, I quickly checked Twitter. I'm like, okay, Leclerc is out in like lap 2. God damn it, hate Ferrari. How could you? And then I see David Savard out for the season. I'm like, oh, come on.
That's like a 5 p.m. Friday news dump.
It is. It's just I hate when they do that because they keep doing it. I'm so lost. Doc's out like a week. That's half of the season now, or half of whatever's left. Whatever is going on.
You know what? They should just forfeit the rest of the season.
I agree. You see what they did for April Fools? I sent it to you.
You sent it to me.
We're gonna wear the blue jerseys, and everyone's like, "Please do."
Please, yeah. I think that backfired on them. I thought they expected a little more people to be upset.
I think Marty would have quit if they wore them again.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't like that.
No, he doesn't. I love that. I love Marty. Agree. Seriously, I do love Marty St. Louis. He's a likable dude. There's something else I wanted to mention, but I can't remember what it was.
What was it? There was something I wanted to bring up too. Now I gotta find the tweet. Give me a second.
It's very annoying.
Oh, I remember. At the draft,
Yeah.
the Montreal Canadiens should not select Mitch
Oh
Cobb.
God, get out, go away. We're not talking about that former scout. I'm not doing it.
My favorite part about that entire thing is he it seemed to start as they shouldn't draft a Russian player because they don't know the situation, like contract situation. But then the argument became they shouldn't draft Michkov, the clearly best Russian prospect. They should draft someone else from Russia.
I don't.
That's all I'm gonna say.
You weren't the only person to send me that.
Who sent you that?
Gus Galloway did.
Oh, okay.
And it was also there that I found out I didn't want to know his rankings, but I could not avoid them. And I have that guy muted, that unnamed scout. I have him muted, and it still showed up that he had Leo Carlson sixth. Look at the numbers he's putting. I don't want. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. If Michkov is available, listen. These are the only people you should think about drafting ahead of Michkov. Bedard, because Bedard. Fantilli, you can have the argument Fantilli versus Michkov, whatever. And Leo Carlson. If you take anyone else ahead of Matvei Michkov, you are just doing this whole you're ignoring the best player available mantra.
Sure.
If they have the opportunity and they pass on Michkov, unless it is Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson, I will come on this podcast and I will bring hellfire and brimstone. I will. The Canadians are going to be bad for 2-3 more years, okay? They're going to be. So if you take Michkov, by the time you're good, he'll be in the NHL.
Right.
I know there's concern about how he can translate to North American ice. Guys,
I don't. Is that
saw
what
someone that young put up that much production and play that well in the KHL?
I thought the concern was his contract.
I think there was also, I've also seen some guys, I think I've seen the elite prospect guys talk about the concern. They still have him as a first round pick, don't get me wrong, but it's sort
top 10, yeah.
Again, hey, I like Adam Fantilli, great name. Adam, great name, fantastic name. Just shut up. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I would really like Leo Carlson. Okay, finish off. We can talk about Marty Walsh, the new head of the NHLPA, had a press conference. Not everyone liked what he was talking about. First off, I want to get this out the way because it's been talked about to death. It's not happening. Marty Walsh talked about how he was open to salary cap negotiations, but he's not interested in raising the escrow.
Oh.
So basically, Alex, the $1 million salary cap increases. That's what it's going to be. If they're not willing to increase the escrow stuff, the league aren't going to answer the phone. Like I'm sure you agree with me there.
No, you're 100% right. It's both sides are so effing stupid. I just can't deal with it. Considering some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about, like one thing in particular, the fact that this $1 million is the sticking point is beyond me, to be honest. Beyond me. But that's okay. We can play in a 4,000 seat state, whatever. Sorry. We're gonna Taylor Hall can't even play because the Bruins can't take him off LTIR, but this is gonna be the sticking point. Okay. All right, guys. All right. Fine.
I'm not surprised by it.
No, neither am I. But it's still frustrating.
But it kind of feels like everyone publicly is like, oh, we can't do this. But I don't think there was ever really any hope of this happening. Like that's been my thought process on this all year. Is it wasn't going to go up. Like the escrow it's just not. It's not good for the league. I don't get how everyone continues to listen. We can have endless talks about the salary cap, but it's just I wanted to mention it and get it out the way.
Yeah, no, fair.
Talking to Pierre LeBrun, he also Marty Walsh did sort of point out, we have NHL players playing in a $4,000 or $5,000 not dollar. Imagine in a $4,000 facility like ASU and the Coyotes. And apparently he's having a meeting with the Coyotes players And I would assume the hockey related revenue stuff is gonna come up.
He's having a meeting about what?
I think he's like talking to the
Oh,
Coyotes players.
oh, okay.
Which fair. He needs to
He
talk to
does.
players, and I think
No,
if there's one team you need to talk to as soon as possible,
it's them.
it's definitely the Coyotes. Not just that, but obviously they need to start figuring out why the Coyotes refuse to pay actual money and try to actually ice a hockey team.
Maybe they should figure out where they're gonna play. Like,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to listen. I'm not. Whatever. I'm going to talk about it again. I don't understand how they got kicked out of for their original arena from last year.
Yep.
Didn't have a plan, or sorry, didn't have an approved plan for another one, and we're still here. I hope you know this. I know you know this. In no other city would this happen. First off, in no other league would this happen. This is Bush League, by the way, Bush League.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
in what other city would this happen in?
Well, how many other teams or any sort of league have such bad rapport and have had to just run around their state like the Coyotes have?
I don't know. I don't know.
Other stuff per Chris Johnson, Crypto Bro, talking about those paper hands, diamond hands, rocking emojis to the moon. I have to. Per Chris Johnson, Marty Walsh also wants to start talking about the World Cup stuff. Apparently, his mantra is, "We'll deal with the Russian stuff as we get there. Let's just plan it." Thank God.
What does that mean? But I agree we should have one. But what do you mean we're going to deal with it when we get there?
I think
have
what
a model.
Is let's get the organization. Let's organize this goddamn tournament because the NHL have just continued to push it back. And if when the time comes, if the Russians can participate, they can. If not, that. But I think what he's trying to say is let's not make this sort of hold us back. Because was there not reports of like they wanted to be patient to see what was happening with Russia?
Well, the way I understood it was the European federations were not going to participate if Russia participated. I cannot see how you hold this tournament and not have Alexander Ovechkin, Evgeny Malkin, Kirill Kaprizov, Artemi Panarin, Andrei Vasilevsky, Igor Shesterkin. Like, I can list the names. How do you have a tournament and so many of your best players are in there? I get the situation. How do you do this?
Well, then it's like, so then here comes this. I will give them leeway for being concerned about this because it's okay. If those European teams choose not to participate, you're choosing between, okay, so I have to try and get Ovi in here,
right?
Who is again chasing Wayne Gretzky for the goal record, one of the best goalies, all those players you mentioned, or I may lose out on the European players as a whole.
I agree.
It's just I get maybe Marty's whole thing is let's at least get it organized, and maybe he's doing the whole Lou thing of we have time, we use it. I'm not the Russian participation thing. That's just no one can win that.
I don't think you have time. You had a decade, or how long has it been?
Yeah, what was the last one?
It's 2023. The last one. Austin Matthews wasn't a Leaf.
Yeah, that was before his rookie season, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Druin was a Tampa Bay Lightning, I think.
Yeah.
Man.
Right. Like, it's been that long. Like, no, time is not on your side, good sir. Every sport is passing you. The MLS is going to be more popular than you. Like, let's put this into perspective. Formula One in the last 5 years, because Drive to Survive, has surpassed you in the United States.
3 races in the States? Like, come on.
Like, what? Time is not of the essence. Or time is of the essence.
That's just me saying maybe that's what it is. He didn't say that. I'm just maybe that's what he's thinking of. Like, if there's one thing on this docket, I will give any sort of. I get it. It's just Russian. Again, the whole tournament as a whole goes beyond him, goes back to Don Fuhr and the NHL.
Sure.
For the love of God, I want to watch. Like, Alex, if we don't get like Hockey Canada event that, or sorry, not Hockey Canada, if we don't have a Canadian hockey team that I don't get to see McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby on the same team, I swear to God, I will lose my mind. We cannot lose the chance to see this happen.
Why can't we have why can't the NHL or someone go, okay, I think it was someone else had suggested this, and I can't remember who. I want to say it was Ray Ferraro, but I could be wrong. A series of games between Canada and the US.
Man,
Like, that's simple.
you know what's sad, by the way? I just kind of thought about this. If if this World Cup happens in 2025, and let's say it's right before the season starts, Crosby will be like 38, 39.
Mm-hmm. Ovechkin will pass Gretzky by then.
Yeah. He may be retired.
Right. Right.
That's actually really sad to think of.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing. Those honestly, and if it gets pushed back another year or two after that, Crosby and Ovechkin will both probably be gone.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not playing.
That's so sad. I don't want them to go. Okay. So also, Pierre LeBrun mentioned Marty Walsh is aiming to get more player engagement, and they are having discussions with the players about the playoff format. Now, if the salary cap is your give and go to escrow, I do wonder what is if Bettman does change the playoff format. And God, Alex, I just don't see it happening. But let's entertain the conversation. Say if Bettman is willing to move to 1-8.
Sure.
I am curious because they're not getting a damn thing unless they give something up. What do the players give up? Or what do the league get in exchange for a playoff change? That's what I really want to know.
I mean, there's a couple options.
Second team in Phoenix. Winnipeg go back to Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue. I want to say it was the NHL or Bettman who hadn't suggested it, but there was the rumors about the shorter contracts. Going from 8 to something like 5, which the NBA has, which funny enough, copying the NBA.
New CBA.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah, that too. But I was going to say NHL copying NBA. Where have we seen that before? That's one that comes to mind. I honestly don't know.
Yo, as a fan, low-key, I would be perfectly fine with lowering the contract lengths. It's just, if Bettman doesn't want to move on the playoffs, I don't know why a player would at all think to give into lowering contracts.
Oh, it's a give and a take.
I hate it. And last thing on the docket, and this is the sort of most important one. Marty Walsh basically had a quote and talking about that people of the LGBTQ community shouldn't feel sort of non-welcome by NHL players not wearing the jerseys. Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm paraphrasing what he's saying there. I get what he was trying to say. Like, obviously, he can't go and rip players like that. He's the goddamn head of the PA. However, I would like to. What was he like? The former minister? What was he? The former labor, whatever they have. I would like to think of someone who is a politician would maybe have a better worded statement. I get it. That's another thing that I think no matter what he said, there was going to be people going against it. But I just wanted to say, like, man, it just doesn't feel that way, though. Could you not have said, listen, I would encourage players to do this, do that? Because saying that they shouldn't feel that way. Again, I don't think he's telling people how to feel. I think he's just trying to express, listen, don't look at these players. Maybe let's look at the majority who are trying to wear it. I don't know the exact numbers because some teams haven't even done the Pride Night. But man, like, I've seen fans on Twitter and of that community who are legit like affected by the lack of these jerseys being worn and all that, and how they don't feel welcome. That whole thing left a sour taste in my mouth. I don't know if he could have really come out with a W on that one, to be honest with you. But
Probably not. It
but
was a
he could have
tough.
been better though.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think I don't. There was going to be something said regardless of what and how he said it. And yeah, he probably could have phrased it a little bit better. But I don't know. I think we've made our thoughts pretty clear on the whole thing. I don't know what else to add.
I will ask you this.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
what's
did
up?
you make of PK Subban's comments? Sort of saying we shouldn't force players to become advocates.
I just don't see how this is them. Wait, advocates or activists?
Let me get the. You know what, Alex? I'm gonna get
Because
the
I
exact
thought it
quote.
was activists.
You could be right.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm some
No, that's
wrong to
okay.
push players into being activists.
I just don't see how this is them being activists.
I think it's just
That would be
small. I think it's just a small gesture.
I would have to understand the argument as to how this is them being activist versus again, and I'm not like listen, I don't want to pick on one particular other night. I think you can make that for the other nights that the teams do. How is that making them activists? Like I remember earlier this year, was it the Raptors or I can't remember what team it was. It was I want to say it was the Raptors did like a Philippines night.
That's neat.
So if there was a jersey, would that make like what I don't understand how this is making them active. This is my personal opinion, and I'm sure people will disagree. I just don't see how in this particular instance how you're an activist and how this is necessarily political. I don't see how we've turned this into how this is somehow turned into a political issue. Frankly, like that's just my honest opinion. So I don't really see how this has turned into them being activists by wearing a jersey. What am I missing? Am I missing something?
Did Tony D'Angelo wear a Pride jersey?
I have no clue.
I need to check this because if he did, then I don't think anyone has a leg to stand up.
I don't get it.
I don't think like PK Subban is undoubtedly a good person who has done some amazing, amazing work in his life.
Yeah.
What is it? He raised like over $6 million to the Montreal's Children's Hospital. That is a guy who I think it is safe to say has a pure heart and is a good dude. Like I'm just gonna say that, right? I believe that, and obviously I am a big PK Subban fan. So I don't think this is malicious or the same as like Eric Stahl that doing it, who was flat out lying. But I didn't wear a Pride jersey. Has somebody followed up with him about that? I need to know. But
well, I think they followed up with him at that time when they said there's literally video evidence of you.
But what I mean
right.
is like, listen, I get where PK is a decent dude. He's a good dude. However, like, man, you're just off here.
I just don't understand. Like, again, and I think this whole entire thing to me is how are they activists in doing this? What is it about this in particular that makes them an activist? That's what I struggle to understand about this, because I don't look at this night, the Pride night, as different when they do it for other things, when they do it for other nights. Like when the Canucks did good example here. The Canucks did the Indigenous night, right? I think they did it last year. I believe they did it this year too, and they had the sick jerseys.
Yeah.
Is that being is that being activist. I'd argue that's also an extremely political issue, especially in this country. I just,
Uh,
how is this particular thing of them being an activist versus other nights across the league that the teams hold?
I can't find a picture directly of Tony D'Angelo, but I'm assuming that day the Flyers, if Provorov not wearing it made headlines, I'm sure his would. But I did find a 2020 Pride Night warm up used stick with Pride tape on it from Tony D'Angelo when he was a Ranger. Funny enough. So listen, guys, if Tony D'Angelo is cool with it, I don't think anyone else has an excuse. I really don't. But yeah. Okay. That's everything.
All right. Is that everything?
No, I'm not gonna do it like that.
Don't do
Yeah,
me
that's
like
everything.
that.
Thanks for checking out the show, people. Share it or something. I don't know. Do live your lives. Summer's coming. Nice weather today, Alex. Huh?
Yeah, it's just cold.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. I don't know how to end the show. We'll see you next time.